Are you worried that tapping won't work for you, or that you cannot overcome your social anxiety? I got a bit of a story for you. My name is Sebastian van der Schrier, former social anxiety disorder sufferer and a social confidence coach. I discovered EFT tapping after, well, how many years of personal development? Let's say roughly 5 years of personal development or 6 years of personal development. And when I first saw it, I thought, yeah, right, this can't be for real. And I downloaded the free manual on how to do it. And I applied it to myself, and I didn't get any results. But I was so desperate because of all these things that I had already tried that failed, that I kept searching. I'm like, okay, let's see if this, it sounds so great. What if this could be true? So I posted on the forum and I said, hey, it doesn't work for me. Does this really work or what? And I got all of these replies from people who encouraged me to keep going and who said that it transformed their lives, that there's their life before tapping and their life after tapping. The difference was that profound, and that made me continue. I ordered the DVDs from the website, the original DVDs, where you see all these practitioners work with these clients in front of the group to demonstrate the effectiveness of the tapping. I saw practitioners like psychologists working with people with PTSD, and they would describe their worst horror memories of how they had to shoot a child or how they saw the legs of a friend blown off. And as they were describing these memories, they were reliving it, and you would see the terror in their eyes and the sadness on their faces and the grief. And when the tapping was applied, I could see the relief happening. And I saw like an hour later, they could tell that memory as if it was nothing. And the change was so profound, it was undeniable to me that this was working, that this was for real. And I saw people with public speaking come to the front, be all jittery and stuff and do the tapping and, smile and be able to hold court and speak spontaneously. I'm like, this is the real deal. I just gotta make it work for me. I gotta keep going. And that took another 3 to 6 months of just trying. And yeah, I'm not sure if this is actually working for me, because I couldn't really tune into any feelings. I knew I had all of these thoughts, and I thought maybe I feel a bit more relaxed when I do it, but I'm not exactly sure. I was so disconnected from my feelings. So I had a lot of worry that, man, is this really gonna work for me? Because I can see that it works for others. It's obvious that these people are having transformations. And I believe the people on those forums, they seemed really authentic in what they wrote to me. This was way too big to be something like a scam that someone had set up. So I did believe that it was working for other people. But I was just worried that, what if I'm just too far gone and my brain is just a mess and, I'm just a mess and I just cannot overcome this. Even the tapping doesn't work for me. So, that was a big concern. Now, you're probably familiar already with my story, how eventually I got to the Netherlands, because I learned about tapping when I lived in South Africa. There I went to a workshop, and there it actually worked for the first time, and I had a profound experience where all of the shame and embarrassment that I felt in that moment as I was talking about the main problem that I had, and I started doing the tapping, it started to flush away, and I felt a profound shift in my body. That really changed everything for me, because then I was like, wow, this does work for me. Amazing. But that didn't solve my social anxiety. It reduced it a tiny bit, but just a tiny bit. I still had lots and lots to go. And so now I decided, okay, I'm gonna use this tapping now, because finally I have something that works to overcome my social anxiety. But there was nobody who had done that. There's no person online that says, oh, I use tapping to overcome my social anxiety. In fact, there's no people online telling they overcame their social anxiety in the first place. This was still believed to be something that you don't overcome. The idea was like, it's normal, it's something that you always have, everyone has it, you can just learn to better manage it and create a better life for yourself with less anxiety. But I didn't want that, because I came from a place where I did not have anxiety. I didn't have any social anxiety until I was 10 or 11. That's when it started. So I knew what normal felt like, right? And I'm like, I want to get back to the way I felt before. Now, in hindsight, I don't want to go back to the way I felt before at all, because I had lots of issues. Even though I was just a 10 or 11-year-old kid, I was very arrogant, cocky, used my power to be above people, was mean, and so on. But I felt untouchable. But at least I knew what it was like to not have anxiety and feel free to say whatever comes to mind and so on. And I wanted to get to that stage again. And so I made that my goal, and I continued on that journey to get to a place where I'm just, free, liberated, able to be myself, freely sharing whatever comes to mind. And, that doesn't mean I'm rude or mean. I don't share everything that comes to mind, I'm not mean, I'm not insensitive. I still have my social intuition and my social acuity, and I can adjust things, but I feel comfortable just being myself. And that was my goal. Now, from that place where I had my first shift with tapping to all the way the other side, for me was a period of years, many years, because I didn't know how to do it specifically. I had to figure all of that out. So I learned from many, many different top EFT therapists. I borrowed concepts from philosophy. I studied cognitive behavioral therapy. I studied ACT. I studied all of these various things, and I learned a lot from my coach. I worked with my high-level coach, the wisest woman I've ever met, and still work with her today because the growth just keeps going. There's no work on social anxiety anymore. That's something of the past, but you never run out of problems, and you never run out of growth potential. You can continuously evolve yourself for the rest of your life. And eventually, social anxiety is just something of the past, and then new problems present themselves, But I learned a lot from her. I learned a lot from my mentor, who's a psychotherapist, who's a therapist, one of the most qualified, the most qualified person that I know. I learned a lot from taking workshops all over the world. I learned a lot from working with my own clients, and through this whole process of studying, reading books, going through programs, I eventually managed to overcome my own social anxiety. But that was a long path. And so for years, I really worried that I would never overcome it. Even though I was making progress, even though things were getting better, I was still always having in the back of my mind, what if I never get there? It's kind of too good to be true, which is part of the problem, by the way. It's a deservability issue, but that's for a different story. So I can very much relate to this feeling of, yeah, right, I'm a tough case. It might work for other people, but it won't work for me. That's exactly why I've created this challenge, okay? That's a big reason, at least, for why I've created this challenge. Because in the free 30-day Social Confidence Challenge, I attack this problem. And I've learned ways to help you see that you can and will overcome it. There are a bunch of things that need to happen in order to get to that place. You need to understand why you suffer. You need to understand why you've not been able to overcome it with the approaches that you've used thus far. You need to know why tapping sometimes doesn't work. You need to know what makes people fail. You need to know what makes people give up. You need to understand the psychology of change. You need to understand subconscious resistance. You need to understand acceptance and non-acceptance and how that keeps you stuck. You need to get a shift, actually feel it working. And you need to hear from different people. You need to be inspired. And so all of that I've put into this 30-day challenge so that bit by bit, that believability that I can and will overcome this problem is going to rise and rise and rise and rise. So you start to feel more and more and more confident that you can and will overcome your social anxiety. Because not only will it start to make sense to you, you'll also start to feel the confidence in your body because you've noticed shifts. You feel better. You know why it didn't work. You know what to do, how to get it to work. The path is laid out for you because I go through the 5 stages. I go through how you feel at every stage. I go through the milestones. Basically, I'm painting the whole picture for you so you can see, okay, this is what's going to happen. This is simply a path I need to walk, and I'm already on the journey. I've already made progress. That's what's going to happen inside the 30-day challenge. So I'm promoting this heavily because it is amazing, right? I'm not holding anything back. This is really gonna change things for you. So, if you haven't already, here we go again, go register at bit.ly/social confidence challenge. Now, together with thousands of other people, you'll be aimed at getting to effortless social ease. Will you get there by the end of 30 days? No. Will you get a lot closer to it at the end of 30 days? Yes. Will you have reduced your social anxiety? Will you feel better about yourself? And will you have a stronger belief that you can and will overcome it? Absolutely. Absolutely. So this is really worth your time. So after you've signed up, you get a little welcome video from me and a test that you can do. That test will show you where you're at. Now, it doesn't make you feel bad, okay? It's not one of these tests like, oh my God, oh great, I've got severe social anxiety disorder. Nothing, No, the test doesn't make you feel bad. It'll make you feel excited because it gives you a bit of a foresight as to what's gonna happen inside the challenge. And it will help you also see that it's gonna be nothing like anything you've ever done before. It's completely different. It's completely different, all right? So then when the 1st of January comes, no matter how hungover you are, if you're gonna drink, or how messed up you are, open that email and watch that first video and follow along. Okay, that's gonna start the momentum for you. Now, if you happen to miss it for whatever reason, just start at day 2 and then at day 3. Each day stands on its own. You can jump into the challenge at any day, but the more days you do, the more results you're gonna get. And of course, it's best to do all days, right? But if you miss a day, don't get hard on yourself. Oh, I missed it. Just hop back on the wagon and jump in where we're at that day. You're still gonna get great results, okay? But come on, man, be there on the 1st of January, open that email, join us, see all of these comments. You're gonna feel so inspired. You're gonna feel better. Every day, you're gonna get some relief. This is really, really gonna be amazing. So come join us, join the gang on the journey to social confidence. Go to bit.ly/social confidence challenge. See you on the inside.